Hey PC gamers, and welcome back to the PC Gamer Chat Log. I'm Lauren Morton.
And hey everyone, I'm Molly Taylor.
And this week we are bringing in our staff writer Morgan Park to talk about live service games. And specifically, a little bit of live service game fatigue. I think that maybe everybody's been feeling lately. It's just like an ongoing, really long-term thing. It's not like, I don't think we have any acute examples right now of like, oh, there's this one live service game that's pissing everybody off. I think it's something that's like been simmering on our team for like a year, maybe even more, of just being like, okay, another live service game. And like, even if it's one you're excited about and you want to play, you just think about your evening. You think about your day job writing about video games, and then you think about your evening playing more video games, which is such a rough life, let me tell you, never leaving this chair. And yeah, the responsibilities and homework that you have in all of your many live service games. You got to do your dailies. You got to work on that battle pass. So, you know, there's a little malaise, a little bit of tiredness happening maybe around that we wanted to get off our chests. But before we go grab Morgan to talk about that, Molly, what have you been playing lately? Hopefully not live service games. Hopefully you've been doing something else.
Well, kind of.
Always.
Yeah.
And therein lies the problem.
What isn't live service these days, right? No, I've been going back to some comfort games. So I've been playing a little bit of DJ Max, which I've spoken about on this podcast before. It's the rhythm game. They just did a huge update on it. They've released they're calling it 2.0. So they've done some changes. They've added a bunch of new charts and stuff. And it's the new battle pass, because my funny rhythm game has a battle pass, and it is the one battle pass. Yeah, you can't escape. And it is the one battle pass that I admittedly do buy and usually end up playing, because there's no missions. You just clear it by playing it, by just playing the game. That's how you get all the steps. You just play the game. There's no missions. There's no do this for this much XP. Just play, baby. Okay. So it's quite easy to tackle. But the new battle pass is very, very nice. I really like the new theme. They always do a theme each season, which I guess is standard for battle passes. It's a really cool, almost like a schoolgirl visual novel style theme this season. It's really cute. Nice. So I've been playing a bit of that, getting through the battle pass. My friends like to joke that I have what's called the one miss curse, where I will almost in every single song I play, I will always have one miss. And there's an emote in the new battle pass where it's my favorite character holding up a little -1 for a one miss. So I had to buy it just for that reason. And I've also been playing The Sims 2. I've been going back to some comfort games. Yeah, I have had such a hankering to go back to The Sims 2. I'm having a great time. I forgot how many little details, how nice the animations are in that game as well. It's held up really, really well. Just in terms of, I think so. I'm having a great time. Maybe it's a little bit of the nostalgia speaking, but I'm having a really good time. Although I will say, as much as I rag on The Sims 4, it is infinitely easier to build anything in The Sims 4. You have to cheat in quartile placements in The Sims 2, which is a thing I do not remember. You have to cheat in diagonal placements. There's a couple things about The Sims 2 that I'm damn, I'm glad it's not that way anymore. I'm having a really good time. I just keep getting promotions left, right, and center in my career, because I'm talking to people and they're like, I like you. Oh, my boss is the cousin. Here, have a promotion next time you go in. And I've just been promoted the day before. So I'm having a great time. It's going great for me. So yeah, I've been having a good time leaning back on some of my old comfort games. And The Sims 2 has Discord Rich Presence. There is a Discord Rich Presence mod. So people can see my Sims names, which is weirdly embarrassing. I don't know why that's so embarrassing. How many simoleons I have, which is also a little embarrassing. And also what neighborhood I'm in, little details, and whether the game is paused or whether it's playing. Yeah, I never thought there would be a day where I was playing The Sims 2 with Discord Rich Presence. That's crazy.
I don't need my friends judging me for that stuff. I can't have that. When I went back when I went back, I was playing The Sims 3 because, that's the one I
Yeah.
skipped. I grew up on Sims 1 and 2, and then Sims 3 just kind of came at a different time in my life, and I came back for The Sims 4. Man, building in The Sims 3 is nice. That's what I miss when I went back for that one was excellent. Just like all of the stuff you can do with the
All of
creative
the
style,
swatches.
all of the swatches and the color picker. Like, yes, it's nice to have swatches picked out for you. So like you don't have like the intense like choice paralysis of you can do anything, but at the same time, matching wood swatches because you
Mm,
can make everything match if
so
you really,
good.
yeah, exactly. I haven't been playing any of the Sims though. I have still been playing a little bit. Speaking of live service games, I think we'll talk about this with Morgan. I've been playing Sky Children of the Light because that cinnamon roll event ended last week, so I had
Yeah.
to wrap that up. And then they're still in the middle of their season right now, in which they added player housing for the first time. So still working on collecting my seasonal currency for that so I can buy myself some furniture and get some new outfits and all that good stuff. But then also, I went back to Project Zomboid of all things.
Oh.
The like zombie survival. It's been around for a long time, but it had this resurgence in like 2021,
Mm-hmm.
22. I don't remember what year that was when they like did an overhaul to multiplayer, I think is the reason that it happened. And I got into it with my friends at that time, and then we sort of like walked away from it. But I keep telling them I want to pick it back up, and so we did over the weekend and had. I was up until like at least 1 o'clock playing Project Zomboid with a friend over the weekend, just working on our little like getting our house, making sure all our windows are boarded. It's a really fun survival game. Like it doesn't look cute, but the amount of like deep systems stuff and like customization, like you're just constantly picking up like new outfits, new weapons, whatever, as you're out like scavenging. It's the things I liked about playing H1Z1 and PUBG without the PvP part of it. I just like sneaking
Mm-hmm.
about and collecting things. And but of course it's like a survival game, so it's more focused on like, establishing a base and whatnot and getting your farming skill up so you can plant tomatoes out in front of your house and then hauling all of the corpses of zombies you've killed out of your front yard into the corpse pile over by the other house so that it doesn't affect the value of your home because we wouldn't want that. We wouldn't want an
No.
ugly house with zombies out front. No, no,
Mm-mm.
no, no,
Of course not.
no. So that's what I've been doing, is getting back into Zomboid. I need to investigate the mod scene for that game. It has a very healthy modding scene, and I think we should
Ooh.
try some cool stuff there, potentially. But anyway, that's what I got up to. Let's go grab Morgan to talk about
Yeah.
live service games. Hey Morgan, you are usually here to talk to Molly and I about like multiplayer type stuff. And so this is sort of in the similar vein. We're going to be talking about live service games. A lot of the ones all three of us play end up being, sort of communal experiences. But is it right to characterize this as something that we're feeling fatigue with? I feel like I heard you describe it that way recently. Like you were kind of getting really tired and worn out on live service games.
To a degree, yeah. It just feels like every one of these live service experiences is kind of running out of steam at some point. Like it all happens at different times for different games. Um, but yeah, like I can't speak for everybody. Obviously, it just feels like I'm detecting a general malaise and just games sort of having the same exact schedule for years and years and years. Like
Mm-hmm.
maybe there's an expiration date on how long that feels novel and like something you just want to keep coming back to. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, like I come at it almost all from shooters. That's like the main type of these games that I play, and I know it's different for like more MMO type experiences that I think you are more inclined towards.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Molly, are you
Yeah.
feeling the fatigue as well? Is that your
I
sentiment right now?
I am. I totally forgot I wrote about this.
I
Like
knew someone
I
did. Was it literally you?
it was me. I listen, in this job, sometimes we write things and then we immediately forget that we did that. I wrote about this like 6 months ago. I said that I was like really tired of them, especially as someone who kind of picks from different genres, I was expressing like a lot of exhaustion with it, mostly coming from, I guess, because I play like MMOs and gachas primarily. I'm sorry, because I play MMOs and gachas a lot. It's the upkeep, I guess, of maintaining your momentum is where a lot of my tiredness comes from with that.
Yeah, I'd say I'm kind of the same. It's the constant FOMO. Like Morgan said, every one of these games has the same like seasonal schedule for like releasing new content, and you're like, oh no, if I miss a thing, I'm behind, or like I missed out on a cool cosmetic I wanted, or that event that everybody is playing. And when like 6 games are giving you that feeling all at the same time, you just like shut down, just power down. You're like, I can't handle it. I can't handle having FOMO for 6 different games at once. That's too much for my poor little heart. But like, how, I guess this seems obvious, but how do we personally define what a live service game is? Because this is a thing that I feel like it was maybe Temtem was having this discussion with their players a while back about like what live service entails and how much they felt like they were required to do to maintain it, and that expectation may be differing from its community. So I mean, are MMOs always live service games? Are like what else are the parameters of being live service?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it is something I do kind of struggle to define. I think in my head, live service is a game that receives regular updates with the intention of retaining a regular player base, right? Like something that you have like maybe dailies or weeklies, or there is something there that is constantly motivation, I guess, for you to continue playing. There's like an incentive to play every day or every week, I guess, is how I would define it.
Because there are some really obvious lines we can draw. Like we know that like Souls games, like Elden Ring and Dark Souls 3, those have live servers. Those are available to play online all of the time. Those are not live service games. I don't think any one of us would define those things that way. But then I get to like an edge case of like Phasmophobia. I think all 3 of us played a decent amount of Phasmophobia at one point or another. You know, has servers available, added at one point a dailies system, in fact. It does do seasonal content. I don't think I would call it a live service game, though. Something about it is not that, even though it's an online game trying to retain a player base. What is it, Molly?
Do you know what I think it is? I think it's with Phasmo, if I remember correctly, the rewards you get from dailies, the rewards that are tied into that, you don't miss out on them if you don't do them, right? I think it's just experience. I'm pretty sure it's just experience, and then that experience gets you access to stuff that is always there.
Is it the cash shop and the microtransactions? Is that the difference?
Maybe, and the battle passes and like the limited time banners and stuff like that. Maybe it's that I would put more in like a live service camp.
Sometimes when we're throwing the label around, it feels like we're describing a collection of elements like a microtransaction store and battle pass. But I think what Molly said first is like the closest, most useful definition. It's like a game that its entire purpose is to sort of get you on a treadmill, get you logging in every day for whatever reason. You know, every game gets updates. Every game is live, but it's really the service part where it feels like it's trying to sort of be your third place in life, you know, like it's home, work, and this game. That's to me what a live service game is. And, you know, a lot of people really do only have one of those games they play most in their lives. And some people bounce around between a lot. But it's whatever method it chooses, the most popular being battle passes and daily, you know, login rewards and that kind of thing. Like if it wants you to log in every day and it wants you to like be around next month for the new thing, it's a live service game.
Yeah. So like you said, there are lots of qualities that we can all ascribe to live service games. We're like, oh yeah, this is one of those. It's like, you know, as we've described, limited time events, things that happen and you need to participate or they go away. Like daily and monthly quests as well. Also, another factor of limited time. Maybe it's just like the limited time nature of it. Battle passes, also like, a reward track to keep you engaged during that time period. Um, you know, there's always balance changes, things like that to keep up with, depending on what genre you're in. I guess what part of that is feeling really exhausting to you guys right now?
That's a good question. I think it's a combination of everything. It's definitely the dailies and the weeklies and the monthlies. It's as soon as you try and do that for more than one game, I feel like it just becomes so difficult, and it becomes like micromanaging, and you're remembering like every single game has different reset times,
Gosh,
so,
yeah.
like when
Reset
I
on Sunday or
was
reset on Monday?
yeah, and it's like, because I play a lot of gachas, right? And I play Nikkei. Nikkei resets currently at 9 p.m. my time. Honkai resets at like 3 a.m. my time. Project Sekai, which is like a mobile rhythm game, that resets I want to say like 12 p.m., like noon my time. You got like all these different reset times. You have to make sure you do your dailies before reset, and it just becomes like a juggling act, I guess. And it makes it really frustrating because I want to enjoy these games, and I feel like I can't fully enjoy them if I'm not fully invested,
If you're
I
not
guess.
optimizing your enjoyment.
Yeah, if I'm not like maxing out all of my dailies, getting all of my rewards each day, participating in the events, which obviously adds on extra time on top of your like routine, I guess. It's like, oh, what do I do each day? I brush my teeth, I eat 3 meals, and I also make sure I do like 3 battles in the PvP arena in Nikkei. I mean, it's like I can't have that many things in my routine. I'm already struggling.
Morgan, is there any one part that like feels particularly exhausting to you right now?
Yeah, it is sort of like being confronted with another big, like 100 tier battle pass, and looking in there and seeing like there's like 4 things that I actually liked on this thing. And I think Molly even wrote specifically about battle passes late last year, saying like you're just done with
I
them.
did.
And it took me a bit longer to get there, but like I am kind of done with them too, at least in the way they currently work, where you just unlock a bunch of garbage you don't want until you get to the stuff you do want. I just don't like that anymore. Like it it just feels manipulative, I guess, at at worst, or maybe just like lazy at best, to just like have a system where the whole point is just to. It's so obvious when you look at a battle pass what the good stuff is and what people actually want, and then
Yeah.
all the gaps they filled in the middle because they have to be there.
To
Like it's
justify the
just
existence. Yeah.
yeah. So you get like credits or a color variation of a gun. There's some like stuff you're just never going to use, and it like literally clogs up your like inventory. At least like in Siege, the game I think most about when it comes to this. Like you just get so much crap, and it makes you wish you could just delete most of it, because like I never wanted the stuff in the first place. I really just wanted the thing that was at the end at best. So like I think battle passes have just become a really bad incentive for me. Um, and so I'm left to just sort of like make sure I'm just enjoying the game itself, which is the most important thing anyways. And there is no one game right now that is just so fun all the time that I play it every single day. Like, I just get in the
Yeah.
mood for games and then come back to them.
Yeah.
This is the thing. That is the thing, right? Is like it really preys on the fact that you're not going to want to play a particular game all the time. Like some days I
They
feel
all
like
go in
playing one game.
seasons.
Yeah, it's
And
like
not the
peaks
seasons
and
that are
troughs.
designed by the developers, the seasons of your personal life, the
See,
seasons of your mood.
the
Yeah.
seasons of vibes,
Yeah.
the seasons of how I'm vibing with a game at any particular moment. It's the peaks and troughs, and I'm not always gonna want to play the game. And obviously the intention with a lot of these live service games is to, one way or another, get you to play the game every day. And I feel like that makes me kind of resentful sometimes of the games that I enjoy, because I'm like, well, I want to play this, but oh my god, it's so much effort, and oh shit, it's 8:45 and I haven't done my dailies yet, and reset is in 15 minutes. I have to do it. I have to drop everything I'm doing and do this right now, or I wait until reset, lose out on everything, and then potentially never go back to the game again, because I'm like, well, I missed one day. What is the rest of my life to continue missing out?
I think it is those seasonal battle passes that are doing it for me right now, of like, and not like the concept of a battle pass is kind of okay with me. It's this like seasonal nature of them. Like, okay, this is going to run for 1 month, for 3 months, whatever, depending on the game. And like you have to be engaged with the game during that time period, or you miss out on whatever the theme is right now. And I, like you said, Morgan, they're not fun anymore, because at one point they were really novel. Like when battle passes started happening, there's a reason they're in every game. It's because they were working and we were all about them. We thought they were cool, because the mantra at the beginning of a battle pass was, you get rewards just for playing. They're like, you log into the game, you do stuff, you're going to make progress, and we're going to give you stuff that like, it was a it seemed really beneficial compared to just the existence of a cash shop. We were like, I don't want to just buy microtransactions all the time. They're like, okay, cool. What if we just give you stuff for playing? And we're like, oh yeah, that's great. That's excellent. And now they feel like a chore. And like you said, Morgan, some of the stuff in it you don't even want. And you kind of become resentful of the stuff that you don't want, because they just justify the practice, I guess. So I mean, what the eye to what's next is probably what we're frustrated with right now, is battle passes and like the progressive, like linear nature of them, and whatever comes around next is going to be an answer to that, probably.
I'm
right?
scared that what comes next is going to be worse. That's my only concern. Is that now there are so many more games. I think when it was like just a handful of games doing the more is more thing, it was like, oh, this is like manageable. And now when so many games that are in front of you are doing more is more, and you're having to kind of keep on top of everything, I'm just so scared that in further vies for attention, things are gonna get worse. I hope they don't.
Yeah. What are you guys actually playing right now, live service wise? I mean, we're all saying how tired we are, but I know all of us are playing at least one thing and logging in and doing the dailies and getting the microtransactions.
Maybe. I mean, I just said I'm playing Nikkei.
Yeah.
So, and again, that is a game that I go through peaks and troughs with. You know, that is a game that some days it's 20 minutes before reset, or like 20 minutes before an event ends, and I'm like, crap, I haven't done anything. This sucks, because now I feel obliged to do something. But I do still enjoy it. My other issue in Nikkei, and it's an issue with a lot of gacha games, is so much of the progression is gated behind like crazy power increases that require you to like chip away at the game every day to get the resources that they drip feed you each day, and to get like the experience that they drip feed you. And I think that's where a lot of, especially as like more of a gacha player, where a lot of my frustration comes from as well, is it's like, if I don't play this game for 2 weeks, that's 2 weeks of resources that I'm missing out on, and that's 2 weeks that I fall behind.
Yeah, you're like counting your chickens at every moment with a live service game. You're like, man, it's going to take me like 3 weeks to afford this X thing that I want, and any particular day I don't play is a loss. Like you feel the loss of the like a thing you don't even have yet. Oh, it hurts.
Yeah. It's hella frustrating.
Morgan, what are you playing right now?
I mean, like a month ago, I was bouncing around between a little bit of Battlefield 2042 and Siege, and just little stuff here and there, Halo as well. But since the beginning of the year, it's mostly been Helldivers 2.
Yeah.
And really just because it's been so fun, and my friends have been so into it, that it's just been what we want to play. Like, and when I get off of Helldivers, I really just want to play more single player stuff, so it is really has sort of single-handedly filled the the service game hole in my life this year so far.
Yeah, it feels like everybody on our team, or at least the people who play shooters on our team, are really enjoying Helldivers right now. It feels like that's kind of the exception to this exhaustion. Is it just because it's new and because we all can like find the motivation within ourselves to tackle a new one of these when it feels shiny and new, or is Helldivers actually different in some way that you've experienced, Morgan?
It's different. It's very different. Um, I'd say, like, to go back to the exhaustion, like, you know, one reason I think maybe even we didn't previously realize that service games are getting a little tiring is that so much of the way we engage with them has more to do with like money than the actual game. It has more to do with like, sort of seeing it as like a product than something you're actually in and immersed in and enjoying. Like, I'm not really conveying it all that great, but like I do know that Helldivers feels different because it is mostly all like in fiction, and what happens in the game is mostly about like telling a community story. And uh, the part where you have to think about like, oh, do I want to buy X or Y, or do I want these microtransactions? It's just such a small part of the game, but I'm sure still a very profitable one because it's been so popular. Skins are really cheap. Its version of battle passes, which it calls war bonds, are not really battle passes. We sort of think of them that way because you kind of unlock them like one. Like it works a little bit like Fortnite, where you get a collection of unlocked points and you can allocate them wherever you want. But it's really DLC is what they're doing. They're doing classic little tiny expansions where every month they've been adding a few guns, a few armors, a few boosters, um, on these little DLC packs that never go away. They're always just there for like $10. You can buy it, you can not, whatever. Try out the new guns or don't. And you know, what's remarkable is that that's really only a small part of the game. Right? You're not hanging your entire hopes about what's going to be fun in Helldivers next month on what's showing up in the next $10 pass. What you're way more concerned with is the story that the community's telling through this like simulated galactic war, how the developer Arrowhead is like tweaking things by playing the dungeon master in the war and like setting up the next major order. It's sort of collective action, it's player storytelling, and then like when you're actually playing it, it's just an extremely fun co-op shooter. There's just things about that game that are better than almost any other shooter. Like the way guns behave, the way enemies react to them, the way they ragdoll, and how well designed the encounters are, despite being random. It's just like remarkable. It's true. It's exceptional. And to couch all of that, just like pure good game in a live structure that is, much more about telling a story and being a service than a marketplace, is what feels fresh. It is like the opposite of the exhaustion that I've had with other games.
Yeah, the service they're providing isn't, like you said, the new guns, the new mechanics, whatever, because that's the service we think of with the live service games is like game updates and new things. And it's more of the like that collaborative storytelling. It's like the developer involvement. Yeah. Which is like there's not enough room in the collective consciousness or like the for multiple of those at once, right? Or at least not many. I don't think like not everybody can aspire to that, but it's really engaging while it's happening. Like it feels like the summer of Blaseball when that was really popular in 2020, because that was all about the community collective story as well, right? And totally different situation. But
yeah, when I was thinking on it a little bit, especially as you were talking, Morgan, I think perhaps maybe some of the exhaustion has come from it's very static in a lot of live service games. I think it's very like the battle passes are static, the content is quite static. you're kind of doing the same thing battle pass to battle pass, whereas I'm on the outside looking in when it comes to Helldivers, so please correct me if I'm wrong. It feels a lot more dynamic in Helldivers in that, like you say, like you can buy these war bonds, but they're still there, but so much of it is coming from the story being tweaked and all these little changes and not quite being sure what to expect next. And that is just service in a different way, right? I feel like it's a lot more dynamic than perhaps what we've come to expect.
Yeah, and you kind of touched on the strongest part of it. It has brought the mystery back to service games, to a time before Overwatch and Fortnite, when you just kind of when roadmaps had now have a schedule, right, where you know exactly when the next battle pass is going to come out and roughly what it'll have. Helldivers has that to an extent with its war bonds. They're putting them out every month, even though they don't. There's not some countdown on the current one when the next one comes. Uh, but the majority of what you are waiting for in that game has no countdown. You have no idea when it's coming, and it's little surprises, right? Like war bonds aren't the only way to get new stuff. Everybody gets new stuff when they sort of decide to surprise everybody with a new rocket launcher that you can call down, or when everyone woke up one day and suddenly Super Earth was telling everyone to go liberate this planet so we can unlock mechs. Like players literally unlocked a new feature for everyone just by sort of working towards this one goal, and it only took a day, which is faster than they expected. It's like it feels so obvious after you experience it, like, oh, why isn't every game like this? I mean, it's very hard. And, we're 3 months into Helldivers. We don't really know if they'll be able to sort of keep up that pace. It has been a lot. But I don't really think they have to. Like this, I don't think the game only works because it's so constant. I just like the style of having updates that aren't tied to spending money, like finding a way to tell a story with it, just sort of reminding everyone that it's a video game, not so much a store. And yeah, it's just been really nice, and I hope that more games sort of pick up on that and experiment with that kind of development. But it might just be a special case, a studio that's sort of set up to be able to do this.
Yeah, as you're describing like the pace issue of like, can they sprint forever? And the answer is no, nobody can. I'm thinking about the fact that like as much as we're exhausted of live service and battle passes and all these things, I think developers have to be getting tired of those things as well. And not like I can't speak on behalf of anyone, but it feels like surely being in a creative environment, depending on what side of that team you're on. I mean, like constant live releases feels kind of exhausting, and B, as we've said, these things have gotten really formulaic. Like we know the shape of a season, we know like it comes with 5 new guns, it comes with 1 new mission, it comes with blank. And like to be on that team, we are like, okay, make the things that go in the pegboard, like we need 1 of these, 5 of these, 2 of these. Like that has to get exhausting for them as well. To like, I mean, I don't know, there's a certain amount of security in any job and like knowing exactly what needs to be produced. You're like, okay, I'm going to make 5 widgets and 3 thingamajigs, but there has to be like a general sense of exhaustion and malaise, I think, on the development side as well. And I'm sure they're also waiting for something new. Like, what's the new assembly line look like?
You mentioned, or I mentioned Fortnite as a example of one of the more formulaic service games, but there was a time in which it was the Helldivers of note. Like it was where you'd wake up and suddenly there'd be like a black orb in the sky that everyone was asking questions about. Like they used to be way more tenacious and surprising with world updates and storytelling updates and things that would have like real lasting impacts on the game. Like I'm pretty sure that black orb eventually swallowed up the sky and like changed the map permanently. Events like that, like they got headlines. They were like front page news, and they were like memories people made. And, I know they still occasionally do that kind of thing, but I remember eventually it just became like less special. Like they
Mm-hmm.
became a little bit more about like putting on concerts than doing crazy stuff. They became a lot more partnered, right? There was like a big Marvel crossover that
Yeah.
didn't really have much to do with Fortnite itself, and then like eventually they stopped making them surprises, if I remember right. Like they would sort of give people notice it was coming so you wouldn't miss it. They'd even let you like sort of replay it so you didn't have to like watch it on YouTube, and there's valid reasons to do all that, but like it's not really an event, like a true like surprising event if it's not a surprise. So
Mm.
uh I do kind of miss, and I know that like even the proto service game, like the oldest MMOs or the oldest MOBAs, like yeah, they have history of surprising players and in ways that have nothing to do with buying something. Like if I remember right, World of Warcraft had a plague going around that you could like catch on other
Yeah.
players, and just some of the oldest examples of developers surprising players. It just feels like the focus turned so much to becoming a sort of a factory of cosmetics and purchasable stuff over a 3 month period because they kind of have to, because they need all the time they can get to do that stuff. That like these other ways to delight players have just sort of gone to the wayside.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think maybe Fortnite has started trying to alleviate some of the exhaustion by like kind of casting a wider net as well now, right? Like you've got Fortnite Festival, which I'm pretty sure contributes towards the Battle Pass, and then you've got Lego Fortnite as well, which I don't know if that contributes towards the Battle Pass, but I know that there are methods outside of the Battle Royale now
Mm-hmm.
to be able to earn like XP, and I wonder if maybe that's like an attempt to try and either bring more people in to get more battle passes and have more ways that people can do that, or whether it's a way where like if people don't feel like playing the battle royale, maybe they feel like playing Fortnite Festival one day, they can like go do that instead. I don't know, but I think maybe the FOMO's going the wrong way, right? It's gone from no longer surprising people with cool little story things, and now it's like the FOMO is all in. If you don't complete this battle pass, you won't get Peter Griffin.
You
Yeah,
won't have the outfit. Do,
yeah.
do you guys have
Fortnite sort of expanding into other games is, that was a surprise, I guess.
Lego
That
Fortnite
sort
blew
of
up a
came,
little bit?
yeah, it came out of nowhere, and it is cool that Fortnite is becoming more Robloxy and just being a platform for games. But yeah, I mean, Molly's right that it is all ultimately tied into that one battle pass, and you know, I think within weeks they had to change the pricing on the Rocket League cars because they were just absurd, and I don't think it's definitely not like Rock Band prices to acquire Sans in Fortnite Festival. So like you know definitely more than Helldivers. Like Fortnite, even when it's releasing cool new free stuff, is still deeply entrenched in wanting you to follow that up with a pretty expensive microtransaction.
There's a particular experience in like a series you enjoy going live service. Like there's a new game and this is going to be it, but online and forever. And I think we all instinctively just clench up when we hear that and go, oh no, like this is going to end badly. And we can name examples of it going badly, or like, Fallout 76 did not have an auspicious beginning when Fallout went live service. I'd argue it's come around a lot. There's things to enjoy about it. Halo Infinite also kind of landed with a splat originally, right? Do you guys have any that have like not gone badly?
Like launches that have not gone badly.
Not just launches, I guess, but like, the transition of that game or that series or whatever into live service. Like, you know what? That wasn't
Oh
bad.
yeah,
Like, even if it, like, maybe it had to recover from launch, you're like, that wasn't bad. Cause I still like Fallout 76. I don't know. It's not the best way to play Fallout, not by a long shot. Like, does it fit? I don't know. I don't hate it.
I think yeah. I think what can be heartbreaking is when you get the impression that this isn't just another way to play this thing like Fallout. They're sort of framing it as the future of Fallout,
Mhm.
and that's not what you want. I mean, I think it's really cool that there's a multiplayer Fallout, and that it's sort of like this unique micro MMO. But yeah, like it's not the ultimate Fallout. I mean, it's a completely different thing. I really hope they make another single player one someday, and I
Yeah,
don't
to
think
be
we
fair,
have
I
that.
don't think they ever sold it that way. I think Fallout was always an experiment. Fallout 76 was, and any success it's had is like totally incidental nearly.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if it really took off, they would just feel the need to never make another Fallout, so they're updating this other one. Uh, but GTA is an example of GTA
Okay, yeah.
Online. GTA Online was kind of
That
like
is a good
the
example.
the reason GTA 5 never got DLC. I don't think that's like speculation. I think that's kind of been reported out at this point that they thought of doing expansions, but GTA Online was so popular, why do it? Um, but I think maybe that game has now run its course. It's showing its age now, 11 years old, and
Mm.
they actually are ready to move on to GTA 6.
Yeah. GTA 5 kind of like online kind of predates what we think of as live service. I mean, we would
Definitely.
but would we describe it that way? The way that we talk about
Yeah,
live service at the beginning of this? Is it?
it's definitely live service. I mean, it got like very regular updates.
Yeah.
It added microtransactions.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
trying actually because it does it have any FOMO in it? I don't
Um,
know.
Little bits. There's what people really care about most in GTA Online is like their car collection and having the best vehicles. That's kind of like the best prize in that
Yeah.
game. And they run sales every week and rewards and double XP. Like those are kind of the knobs they turn to sort of bring people in. It's not quite as strong as other huge games.
Red Dead Online, by contrast, the Red Dead Redemption 2 Online, not the old RDO of Red Dead Redemption 1, that came around, I think, as we were sort of in the middle of starting to call things live service. I feel like that it was more like self-aware and like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's a live service game. That has, I forget what they're called. It literally has battle passes. Not to just like totally conflate and say that all live service games are battle passes and battle passes are live service, but like it does feel like the thing that they like, okay, so
Yeah,
it is that. Yeah. It very more intentionally angled towards that than like GTA 5, which just sort of ended up that way, maybe, or, played into the trend as it was happening.
yeah. I think the best case scenario for series that go live service is to not only do that. Like
Yeah.
it it's a different type of game, and if you don't want to abandon what the game used to be, then you can't only have the multiplayer version.
Yeah. That's making me think of like Anthem, for instance, which
Yeah.
did not take an existing BioWare series and turn it into live service. It made its own thing and it fell flat on its own merits, unfortunately, but it is not the future of Mass Effect by any
Yeah,
stretch, right? Because it's separate from Mass Effect. So, yeah, like you said, for it to be like a separate thing, like try it, see if it works, take your design philosophies to the live service game, but by God, please don't take your IP to speak in business terms if we must. Please don't take your IP to live service unless you
yeah.
are really certain.
Maybe the single biggest like source of malaise, or at least of cynicism, in live
Yeah.
service games is having to watch all these studios that have always specialized in making like tremendous single player games, um, sort of maybe by their own excitement or by directive of their publishers, dip their toes into this, right? Like you mentioned Anthem. That's you know the people that made Mass Effect making a very weird, unsustainable Destiny clone that had some really good qualities, and you can ride that all the way down to Crystal Dynamics making Marvel's Avengers. That was just baffling. Like had a pretty cool single player story mode. and then a completely baffling Destiny-like format to endgame to go after it. And then maybe this year was like the finale of this era of misguided service teams with Suicide Squad. Like,
Yeah.
people that made
Yeah.
some of the best superhero games ever made, some of the best stealth games, some of the best feeling, just sort of action games. Making a third-person shooter with some pretty good movement mechanics that just had a baffling sort of Destiny, sort of, live servicey like makeup on top of it that just, it's just not very good, you know?
As you're mentioning Destiny, though, there are so many people on our team, like a solid handful, 3, 4 people on the PC Gamer team who are big Destiny 2 enjoyers. And as you're saying, that was not a like notable single player studio going into a live service game. That was, already making good multiplayer, what feels good. And the live service part, different, definitely different. And, the original Destiny came before, and I don't remember what the reception for the original Destiny was like, quite honestly. But yeah, Destiny 2 well enjoyed, but by a studio who was sort of really already playing in that arena, like not being kicked out and saying like, all right, make it multiplayer. Good luck.
Yeah, I think Destiny's set it showed a bunch of studios how they could transform their non MMO into a sort of MMO. Whether like the Division being like another big example of like how do we turn a studio that usually makes like third person stealth action games, how would they make an MMO like games? Like, oh, we'll just do the Destiny thing where it's a much smaller player count. It's not quite massive, but it is multiplayer and it is sort of shared world. And yeah, like, Bungie had always been a multiplayer studio, but it really bums me out that they don't just make, arena multiplayer shooters anymore. Yeah, like, god damn, if they were still making Halo, I'd be on cloud nine. I don't care much for Destiny, but
Aren't
a lot
they
of people
working
do.
on some? Aren't they? Is
Making
Marathon?
yeah, Marathon. But even that is like, I'm not automatically excited because that is an
You're
extraction
cautious.
shooter. Yeah,
Yeah, a
that's
different
not like,
trend.
not really a return to Halo. It might be something completely confusing and different in its own way. Well, maybe it'll be awesome. I hope.
Yeah. Molly, do you have any like good case scenarios or just some bad ones?
I'm really trying to think. I don't want to be such a negative Nancy. I mean, I enjoy my gacha games as much as I complain about them. I do enjoy them. If we're like putting MMOs under a live service umbrella, I do for the most part enjoy the way Final Fantasy XIV structures itself. It is a very formulaic MMO, like to a fault, but there's relatively little FOMO. There is FOMO in it, but yeah, no, I'm trying to think positively and I can't right now. I think I'm kind of burnt right now because so many games that, or like genres that I dabble in that traditionally do not have kind of live service elements to them are introducing them, right? Like
Yeah.
Street Fighter 6 and Tekken 8. I can't remember if Mortal Kombat 1 did it, but Street Fighter 6 and Tekken 8 both implemented a cash shop, both implemented a battle pass. Like, those are fucking fighting games. They're fucking fighting games. Why are you putting a battle pass in a fighting game? Like, are you for real? And especially the way Tekken 8 did it as well has caused a lot of issues. They released it in January and then 2 months later decided to add the battle pass and the cash shop. So it was a little yikes. Yeah.
Did anybody do the Fall Guys battle pass when they added that stuff? I did for a while. I was climbing the Fall Guys ranks for sure. I think like what I'm playing right now and like a good case scenario is Molly, I've been playing Sky Children of the Light. Like, that game company went from making Journey and then they turned Journey into a live service game. And I was very like clenched about that for sure. But I think it turned out well. The community, the community for any live service game has complaints about that game for sure. There are complaints about the cost of microtransactions in Sky. Absolutely, and they're valid. But generally, I think they did a good job of like making their live service like style of journey work out well. So I actually enjoyed it.
Yeah, I tried Sky for a few hours and I really liked. I liked the movement. I liked the flying. It felt like a spiritual successor to Journey. But yeah, as soon as I like got into the cash shop in there or like the outfit shop, I was like, oh, I don't think I care enough about that.
Yeah.
But you know what Molly mentioned before, it just reminds me of like, yeah, something I think we wrote about last year, or I wrote about last year, is that I kind of miss paying for games, or at least like the sort of the contract of just buying a game versus it being free to play forever.
Yeah.
Like, and that I think that kind of applies to MMOs too. I've never really been an MMO person, but I've always really respected the expansion system of, it's a big game. There's lots to do. Maybe you go away from it, but when an expansion comes out every few years, like, maybe for next month after that, you're like super intensely into it. You want to get through all the new stuff. And I think expansions are great. I wish those would come back in a bigger way in our current games, but instead it feels like we've sliced all that effort into like these really small packages that have to come out every few months. It's kind of exhausting.
Quick fire. What is something about live service games that you aren't tired of yet? Like something you actually do still enjoy? Like the concept as a whole, we're getting kind of tired of, but like what is actually keeping you coming back? What do you still enjoy about those games?
New updates, especially when they add like new characters, new storylines, stuff like that. Like that always keeps me, especially if the lore is interesting. If the lore is interesting and they're like adding those things, I will come buy your battle passes. I'll come do my dailies, I guess.
What about you, Morgan?
I was basically going to say the same thing. Like new stuff is fun. Like in shooters, the best live service games add like a few new guns, maybe a new character. And I still show up to check that stuff out, even if, I only end up getting back into the game for a couple weeks. It's good. That system works in that way.
Yeah, for me, it's got to be the dailies, actually. I am a dailies defender because, like, I'm a creature of habit. I just need my little routine. Like, yeah, you can't juggle dailies for 5 different live service games at the same time. But like you said, I only really main one at a time. And I do Animal Crossing is not a PC game, nor is it a live service game, not by any stretch of the imagination, I don't think. And yet it's got like that little track of like log in, do your little chores. And that's what dailies are for me, is doing my little chores, doing my little things that I'm supposed to do. So I actually don't hate them yet. They'll probably stick around for a long time. And then I also have a quick quiz for you guys related to live service games. Okay, I'm going to ask the two of you, see if you can puzzle this out. Order these games, 3 different games, based on how long they were actually live before they shut down, from shortest amount of time to longest amount of time. Okay, Knockout City, that dodgeball game that Morgan liked a lot by Electronic Arts. Anthem, BioWare, that we've already talked about, and the day before, that ill-fated
are we going
online
from
crafting game,
least to
shortest to longest? Yep.
Okay, so it's got to be the day before, Anthem, Knockout City.
I was thinking, with the day before being the shortest, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, day before is the shortest. Knockout
certainly
City
day before. Day before was famously flamed out within a matter of days. Quite the weird story, but yeah, Knockout City versus Anthem. I might have to say Anthem technically lasted longer, because Knockout City I think only got about 1.5 years before it shut down. And I think Anthem, even though it stopped getting new stuff, didn't die for a while. So
Morgan's got it. Morgan, you got it right. Knockout City, May 2021 to June 2023 was 2 years, actually.
Okay.
Anthem,
2
2 years it was around before it went offline. Anthem, in fact, is still online. It is not getting new updates. It came out in 2019, but it has currently been live for 5 years. You can still play that game. Should you? I don't know, but you can. And the day before got about 6 weeks, December 2023 to January, the end of January 2024. So yeah, correct order. Day before Knockout City, then Anthem is actually still alive. It did not die.
Well done, Morgan.
Nice.
Yeah, well done. Well, that is live service games and our sort of beef, sort of exhaustion with them, but we're going to keep playing them, it turns out. Yeah. So, we'll be here to see what happens next. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.